Since your presence touched his, nothing has been the same. The angels say, you were a key. He was a locked room. And ever since, he has been trying to find that silence from before, but that silence doesn't return. Something in you remains inside him. Not as a memory, as a presence. And that's why, even with all his effort, he can't move on. He tries. But his heart insists on going back. There's something about this connection that can't be explained. You feel it. He feels it. And the heavens confirm, this meeting is not ordinary. It's a mission. A mission between souls that recognized each other even before the first glance. You didn't arrive by chance. You were sent. Not to be the end of his journey, but the beginning of the turning point. The moment when everything hidden began to want to emerge. He tried to move on. Tried to love another. Tried to distract himself with other hands, other bodies, other names. But nothing touched him like you did. Because what he feels for you isn't physical. It's spiritual. And once the spiritual is awakened, it doesn't fade. His heart is restless. Because his soul already knows. And no matter how much he tries to silence it, there's an invisible thread pulling him back. To you. To what he felt and pretended not to feel. To what he lived and tries to forget. But he doesn't forget. You saw him. In his entirety. And yet you stayed. You didn't want parts. You wanted essence. And that scares him. Because no one before has asked for that. Because no one before had the courage to love through the cracks. Now he finds himself torn between running away or coming back. Between moving on or surrendering. But the angels are with him. Showing that running from you is running from himself. And the love he seeks has already found him. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you came out of the womb, I sanctified you. Jeremiah 1 verse 5. This love is older than his fears, and stronger than any attempt at substitution. He doesn't talk about it. Maybe because he's never had a safe space. Maybe because he learned to stay silent. But inside him, there are wounds that shape every gesture, every silence, every step he doesn't take towards you. The angels say, his heart is not cold. It's protected. And those who protect so much have likely bled too much. You feel it. The distance that doesn't match what you've experienced together. The interrupted affection. The fear disguised as indifference. But none of this is about you. It's about what he carries. He tried to move on. Tried to convince himself that you were just another chapter. But everything about him screams that it was more. That it still is. Yet there's a part of him that was taught not to trust. That relationships end. That feelings hurt. That showing emotion is weakness. And that part is now fighting against what he feels for you. You're not the problem. You're the mirror. And your light reveals cracks he'd rather hide. This is the barrier. It's not a lack of love. It's an excess of fear. Fear of being seen too much. Of being touched where no one has ever touched him. Fear of surrendering and once again, losing. And even without realizing it, he tests you. Tests your patience. Tests your absence. Tests if you really are who you say you are. Because he's seen promises turn into wounds. But you didn't come to repeat history. You came to break cycles. And even with all the resistance, he feels that something about you is different. That there is peace in your presence. That there is truth in your gaze. And that maybe, for the first time, he can trust. The angels are working on this tired heart. They're whispering that not all love hurts. That not all love leaves. That there are arms that embrace, not demand. And those arms are yours. You are standing before a wounded man, but also before a soul that wants, more than ever, to heal. And you are part of that healing. Even if he still doesn't have the words to thank you. You have been offering much more than he can receive right now. Not because you are exaggerating, but because he hasn't yet learned to nourish himself with something so pure. And that's why today, the angels are asking you to take a step back for yourself. Not as an escape, but as a reunion. You've been worried about how he feels, what he thinks, the signs that aren't coming. And slowly you've forgotten to ask, how am I feeling? The love you feel for him is real. But it cannot be greater than the love you owe to yourself. The angels say, a woman who loves does not need to dim her light for another to shine. You don't need to stay in the dark for him to find himself. Your light was meant to shine on you too. Today, the entire sky wants you to remember the strength you carry, the peace you offer, what you have already overcome to get to this point. You are a lighthouse, but you are also a temple, and temples don't chase after anyone. They remain steadfast, sacred, whole. This man is still navigating his own labyrinths. You can accompany him, but without losing yourself. You can offer presence, without sacrificing your soul. Love does not require you to negate yourself. True love strengthens, aligns, elevates. So today, allow yourself to choose you. Say no to what drains you, and yes to what recharges you. Take a longer shower. Walk in silence. Breathe deeply. Look up at the sky. Remember that before him, there was you, and you were already whole. This pause is sacred. It's not giving up. It's preservation. The angels are by your side, reminding you, the woman who returns to herself becomes even more magnetic. And perhaps when he feels that you have come back within, he will begin, for the first time, to genuinely want to come out. Not out of fear of losing you, but out of a desire to finally find you. There is something in you that disarms him. Not for what you do, but for who you are. You see him whole, even when he tries to hide. And that's precisely why he can't forget you. The angels say, you are a mirror, and no one forgets who reveals their own soul. Your presence compels him to look at himself. Not what he shows the world, but who he really is. And for someone who has spent their life wearing masks, that is unbearably true. He sees in you everything he still doesn't have the courage to be. Your peace, your strength, your sensitivity, your openness, all of it forces him to confront the man he is trying to become. And sometimes, he hates that. Other times, he admires you even more for it. But always, he feels exposed. Because you don't accept halves. And he knows. You don't feed on emotional scraps. You want the whole thing. And he is still learning to be whole. You have become a kind of living truth in his life. And truths can't be ignored. He may even try to distract himself with other faces, with other presences. But deep down, only you have that power, the power to make him recognize himself. That's why even when he's distant, he remembers. That's why even when he tries to move on, he returns. That's why even in silence, he dreams of you. You are the only one who has seen him beyond his defenses, beyond the facade, beyond the confusion. And he knows. He knows that with you, there's no way to pretend. There's no way to move forward without transforming. The angels are touching his mind now. They are opening doors he has kept locked for far too long. They are showing him that loving you isn't dangerous. It's liberation. And when he finally accepts this, that love does not diminish him, but reveals him, he will stop running. And he will understand that what he sought so desperately out there has always been in the reflection of your gaze. He has started to feel differently. He still doesn't understand. He can't explain it. But there is a new discomfort, not one of pain, but of awareness. The angels say, his soul is awakening. This type of awakening is silent. It starts as a nameless longing, an emptiness that no distraction can fill, a memory that persists, even when he wants to forget. He thought he could move on, that he could fill the space you left with routine, with noise, with other people. But nothing worked. Because what he feels for you isn't absence. It's a living presence. And such presence doesn't fade away. Something is stirring inside him. A feeling that was once denied. Now it's growing. He's starting to admit to himself that you weren't just another person. That you weren't just a phase. That you left a trail of light that cannot be extinguished. And every time the world falls silent, you appear. In the song playing by chance. In the conversation with a friend. In the forgotten sweater. In the fragrance lingering in his memory. You've become a sign. A message. And now, a destiny. He still hesitates. But his heart no longer obeys fear. It's restless, because it knows something big is happening. You planted seeds. And they're sprouting. Maybe still underground. Maybe far from your eyes. But they are already breaking through the dark, toward the light. And that's why he thinks of you when he doesn't want to. Why he dreams of you on nights when he no longer believes in dreams. Why he misses you in the most unexpected places. Because his soul recognizes you. And it can no longer pretend it doesn't feel. The awakening has begun. And the angels are guiding every step. They say, she came to activate. And now, he can no longer go back to sleep. He gets closer, and then pulls away. He says he wants to, but doesn't stay. He looks into your eyes as if asking for help, and then turns his face away as if to say, I can't. It's a cycle. A back and forth that seems endless. And you wonder, does he really feel anything? The angels respond, he does. But he still doesn't know what to do with it. He learned to protect what he feels with absence. To mask desire with indifference. To cover love with silence. Because showing it has always meant losing. And now, you stand before a divided heart. Between what it recognizes and what it fears. Between the love that blossoms and the walls it has yet to bring down. But still, he comes back. He always comes back. Because there's something about you that calms him and challenges him at the same time. You don't ask. But he feels he needs to give to you. You don't pressure him. But he feels compelled to offer what he's never given to anyone. This cycle, no matter how painful it seems, is part of the healing. The angels say, each return is a new attempt. Each distance, a conflict between the old and the new. You represent the new. The love that doesn't shout. That doesn't demand. That simply is. And he, accustomed to drama, still doesn't know how to live in this peace. That's why he tests it. He comes and goes. As if to say, it's too real, it scares me. And it is real. You are love without chains. You are care without a scream. You are presence without imprisonment. And this is gradually teaching his heart that love doesn't need to be a battle. The angels keep guiding. Even when he seems far away. Even when you doubt. They are healing the wounds of the past, so that he can finally walk to you with steady steps. This coming and going will come to an end. And when it does, it will be a beginning. Of a love that won't part again. You never needed to heal him with words. Or prove anything. Because your love was already doing the work in silence. In the details. On the days you were present even without a response. In the prayers you made for him without him knowing. The angels say, her love is medicine. And he has already begun to feel the effects. He won't understand it right away. Maybe he'll say he feels lighter without knowing why. Maybe he'll start sleeping better. Smiling more. Wondering what has changed. And the answer is you. Because your love wasn't a shout. It was a touch of the soul. Tired hearts recognize when something embraces them without demanding. When there is acceptance instead of pressure. When there is presence instead of expectation. He always associated love with pain. With effort. With guilt. But you arrived differently. You arrived healing. Without invading. Offering. Without begging. Believing. Even when everything seemed impossible. And that's why, even without understanding, He feels that something about you brings him back into balance. The angels show, the energy field around him has already been transformed by your giving. He has distanced himself from old habits. He has reconsidered decisions. He has looked in the mirror with new eyes. You didn't heal him because you wanted to fix him. You healed him because it was love even when it hurt. And this kind of love stays, acts, vibrates, transforms. And now, his internal pieces are beginning to align. Because you didn't pull him toward you. You led him back to himself. And what he finds there is peace. Peace that bears your face. Peace that he can't name, but desires with every part of his being. You're not a quick-fix remedy. You're profound healing. And this love, even in silence, is already giving rise to a new man. The time that seems like silence is, in fact, an altar being prepared. There is an invisible order being built around you both. A divine architecture that goes far beyond what the eyes can see. The angels say, she waits with faith. And heaven responds with precision. Nothing is stagnant. Nothing is lost. Waiting is not a punishment, it is a gestation. What is being woven between you and him requires care, time, and spiritual alignment. You have been wondering if it is still worth believing. If what you feel is real or just an illusion. If he will ever be able to move past his fear and come to you. And heaven responds with a single word, trust. Because even when he seems distant, his heart is being touched by greater forces. He has been confronted with signs, with memories, with dreams. And at the center of all this is you. He starts to realize that you are more than a memory. You are a guide. You are a presence that remains, even when everything around changes. And now, this presence begins to speak louder than fear. The angels are rearranging the paths. Closing doors that he insisted on leaving ajar. Unraveling knots he didn't even know existed. They are creating space for the right love to flourish. Not in the ego's timing, but in God's timing. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he will do the rest. Psalm 37 verse 5. This promise is for you. For your weary heart. For your wounded hope. For the faith that still beats, even through tears. You are not waiting alone. The whole heaven is with you. And when everything is ready, when he is ready, the reunion will not just be between two bodies. It will be between two souls that have never stopped recognizing each other. He still fears showing who he is on the inside. Letting down his defenses. Allowing someone to see his weaknesses. Because in the past, every time he opened up, he lost something. You can feel it. In the way he hesitates. In the unfinished gesture. In the word that dies in his throat. The angels say, he wants to love. But he still doesn't know if he can trust love. And this makes him a prisoner of himself. He knows what he feels. There's no denying it anymore. But truly loving you would mean admitting that he also needs someone. And that is the greatest vulnerability for someone who has spent their life trying to be invincible. He fears disappointing you. Not knowing how to give you what you deserve. Not being enough. And that is why he hides. But what he doesn't realize is that you never wanted a hero. You just want truth. Not perfection, but presence. Not promises, but depth. And he already offers you that, even without realizing. In the details. In the subtle care. In the way he listens to you even in silence. Gradually, he is coming to understand that vulnerability is not weakness. It is a bond. And it's this bond that the angels are strengthening right now. They are calming the old fears, showing that loving isn't about exposing oneself to danger. It's about allowing oneself to be cared for, too. You are the safe space he has never had. And even if he's hesitant, he feels it. He approaches not just because he loves you, but because close to you, he can finally rest. The angels keep saying, she is the voice he tried to forget, but that now guides him inward. And in that silence where he hides, love has already started to speak louder. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain. Revelation 21 verse 4. His past pain is losing strength. And what is now being born is a new way of feeling. Accepting is the final step. Not because we give up, but because we trust. We trust that what is ours does not need to be chased after. It just needs to be recognized, honored, allowed. The angels say, she doesn't need to run. Love will find her. You've done what you could. You gave, you felt, you waited. You believed even when everything said not to. You went beyond the pain, beyond the doubt, beyond yourself. And now it's time to rest in this love, even if it's still on its way. Accepting is not conforming. It's freeing oneself from the idea of control. It's understanding that love is about offering and letting go. You haven't lost anything. You've given. And gifts made with a soul always return in the form of miracles. He may still take some time. He may resist a little longer. But love has already transformed him. And you are the root of this change. You have been a path, a mirror, a healing. Now, be also a shelter for yourself. Life has its rhythm. The heavens have their timing. And the right kind of love never arrives late. You can finally accept that what you experienced was not in vain. That every gesture, every prayer, every silence wrote something sacred. And that, somewhere between time and destiny, two hearts have already decided to find each other again. The angels are preparing the moment. And when it arrives, you will have no doubt. It will be simple. It will be profound. It will be whole. Because the right love never comes halfway.